If you were to take a test group of 100 men in their 20s, I think it's extremely conservative to assume that over 80% of these men in their 20s would deem business and finance as number one on their list of not only priorities, but things that they are struggling with, things that they are falling short in. The pressure put onto men from women, adolescents, from school, family, right? From your parents wanting you to get out on your own and be self-sufficient and become independent, universally falls on you as a man becoming financially independent and essentially becoming financially free. And that feeling can become all-encompassing. And I talk a lot in my curriculum about the importance of financial security, but I do not highlight an importance on financial freedom. And there's a reason for this. An abundance of finance, an abundance of monetary gain will not provide you as a man with what you're looking for. Financial security will provide you as a man with what you're looking for, with security. And from security comes a stress-free environment in which you can create from, in which you can operate from. That safety will trickle into all aspects of your life. The problem is most men in their 20s aren't primarily worried about their financial security. They're worried about acquiring financial abundance. I don't want to single out men in their 20s. This is something that we as a society, we as a culture congruently feel. Everyone to some extent is seeking some level of financial abundance, and that's just society and social media, and that's understandable. Problem is what I like to call the pie chart of attention, the pie chart of energy. As human beings, we have 100% of our attention to be distributed how we please, to be intentionally distributed and placed where we want. You don't have 120% energy, you don't have 150% of your energy, you get 100% of your energy to distribute. It's come to my attention in speaking with men in their 20s who are truly struggling that their finances and their business and the success within their business is their North Star. It's their main focus. And I don't have an exact number for it, but seemingly they are dedicating around 80% of their attention, of their energy in that front. And so what happens is there's only 20% to go around to tackle the rest of their development, right? Their character, their health, their relationships, their community, skill acquisition, their ability to communicate, time for reading, time for learning, and most importantly, their faith. What you see is through that 20% estimate is neglect. You see these men in their 20s feeling lost and purposeless and truly believe in their heart that their finances is the ticket to finding their identity. It's the ticket to finding that comfort, to finding that happiness, and in turn, finding peace. I want to come on here today to stress how important it is that you take such a bigger portion of your attention and your energy from this pie chart and you redistribute it to things that truly matter in your 20s. Your finances will come as long as financial security is covered, as long as your bills are met and you're confident that they're going to be met, in which you can operate, like I said, from a place of confidence, from comfort, from security, then you're good. Allocating any extra time, energy, and resources to your business is counterintuitive in your 20s. Now, if perhaps your fitness is intertwined into your business, I like to play devil's advocate. There is a time where investing more than 20%, let's say, of your energy into your business in your 20s is warranted. And keep in mind, we are called to work 6 days a week, essentially, and rest on the 7th, right? I never want to condemn working. I never want to condemn a pursuit of excellence within your finances, scaling your business, whatever that looks like. But I do want to condemn a neglect of everything else in your life that really matters, and that is going to be extremely important towards your development, leading you into your 30s, where you can then dedicate more time and energy into your business during a season where you have the tools to scale, where you have the tools to be truly effective. You have it backwards if you're allocating a majority of your time into your business and your finances as far as your development goes. I think this pie chart is really important for you. Obviously, there's no true metric to measure unless you genuinely broke down your life by time or some level of output like Rob Dyrdek does and truly got to the bottom of it. You're really never going to know exactly how much, but we have an idea. And I think it's important, just as we budget our finances as a big part of achieving financial security and stewarding our money properly, I think it's important to have an understanding by some metric of how you're distributing your time and your energy. Where is it going? If you're feeling like crap every day and you're not confident in your skin, you don't feel like you look the way you'd like to look, or you're dealing with all these health issues, then perhaps you need to allocate more of your total time and energy to your health. It seems obvious. I shouldn't need to be saying it, but that is the case. If seemingly you're experiencing a lot of friction in your relationships, perhaps your romantic relationships, maybe out and about, finding yourself in a lot of altercations, you're just finding yourself angry or filled with emotion. Perhaps you need to allocate more time towards your character, more time towards your emotional intelligence, understanding your emotions and getting a grip on them. Now, all of this really trickles into the overarching question a lot of you guys are going to have, and a lot of us have in our 20s when we see a piece of information that's convicting or that we can truly relate to, is how do I make change? How do I actively make progress in my character, in my health, in my faith, whatever goals you have in your development? And first and foremost, it does start with a conviction. You're not going to change anything in your life if you don't have the conviction of why it is you want to make change, right? Someone else's conviction will not be enough for you to make a change. And I talk about this again in the curriculum. If you're at a place in your 20s where you feel like you're truly struggling, and this curriculum that I'm explaining is resonating with you, and you're ready to financially invest in your development in your 20s to be truly effective in your 30s, then go down below and comment the struggle, and I will send you a link with all the options that we offer in our program, and you can select the one that is right for you. This pie chart, energy distribution, is one of the tangible ways, once you have some sort of conviction stirred up, to make a change in your life, right? I think a lot of us are stagnant in our life. Things haven't felt like they've been progressing. Like I always mention, when you feel stagnant, life around us is progressing forward, and so innately you tend to feel like you're falling behind. I think the most obvious step when you're feeling that is something in your life needs drastic change. That could just be changing up your schedule. Just shake it up a little bit, because the more stuck in your routine, the more stuck in your habits you are, and discontent with the outcome of your life, continuing on with those habits and that routine is going to continue on with your discontent. If you don't change at the root, the outcome will never change. And so tangibly, this is a way for you to understand in your mind how to make some tangible change. If your pie chart is evenly split, right? Let's say you're putting 25% of your time into 4 different aspects of your life: your faith, fitness, your business even, and education. Maybe you're in college, which would be a crazy thing to have 25% of your time allocated to that. But let's just say, for the sake of this, if there are other facets of your life that you feel you're neglecting, perhaps you're putting 0% of your energy in those things, right? If your full pie chart and your full energy has been taken up, you didn't mention anything about your relationships there, then perhaps you're neglecting your family and your friends and even your romantic relationships. And so you need to pull some of your attention from those 4 things and move it in your relationship category. Literally, that means being more intentional with your friends. That means reaching out, making that call, scheduling that lunch, adding something into your routine that's weekly, that's reoccurring, so that it's now ingrained in your schedule. Move around your attention. Move around the energy that you are exerting. It's not always going to be the case that your business is taking up the most amount of your energy, but I just see this pattern in men in their 20s because we feel as if that is the facet of our life that we are behind in most, and we feel as if that is the solution to all of our problems. If we make more money and if we see more success in our business, then we will have more stats. Then we'll be more valuable to women. Then perhaps we'll get that girlfriend or that relationship that we've been seeking. We'll get that house, that car, whatever it is. We truly think as men, and it's understandable why, that is the solution to all of our problems. And so it's understandable why we dedicate a majority of our time and energy into that. But if everything else around is crumbling, then that is the energy source, the attention source to pull from to redistribute elsewhere. There's a sense of patience that needs to be required towards finding success. In our 20s, particularly. There will be time in your 30s, there will be time in your 40s to thrive in your business, to hustle. And the idea that hustle culture should be in your 20s, and Gary Vee tells you that he never saw a Saturday or Sunday in his 20s, I would bet that Gary neglected certain aspects of his life. And maybe willingly so, and maybe he's content with that. But it was clear that he neglected his relationships. I don't think Gary Vee had thriving relationships in his 20s. And perhaps it's clear he neglected his character. Perhaps it's clear he neglected his health. Now, whether or not he was willing to pay for that later on is up to Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't want to use him as a martyr here. I'm just using him as an example, the classic example of grind it out in your 20s. I think there's some level of merit to that. But I don't think it's grind it out in your 20s and neglect your development as a whole, because you'll find yourself in your 30s far less successful. And you'll find yourself in your 30s wondering who it is you are, wondering why you don't feel purpose. And even if you do acquire the finances because it's all you did in your 20s, I promise you, just like the majority of people who find themselves in an early exit in their life, coming up on all the money they could have ever dreamed of, buying all the assets they could have dreamed of with that money, time and time again, they find themselves in the same position. They find themselves lost in some sort of identity crisis at an age where they should not be having an identity crisis because they allocated too much of their time and attention to their business and their finances at that age. And so they fail to understand who they really are at a deep-rooted level. And so if there's any tangible advice I can give you guys today in your 20s, it's to re-examine the distribution of your attention and see what facets of your life could benefit from more of your attention, more of your energy. And it's likely, if you're a young man, that energy is to be pulled from the time and energy spent in your business. Maybe even just working. Maybe thinking about what it is you want to do. Maybe you're a chronic reader, consumer of intellectual content or self-help content or personal development content. That's not entirely effective. A lot of that time and energy could be better used elsewhere, especially if you're not actually executing with the information that you are consuming. Comment down below if this is you. I want to understand if I have an accurate read on this statistic or if it's just the anecdotal experience of my life talking to young men who are struggling. And I need vulnerability. I need you guys to be real. Do you feel like that is your absolute North Star in your 20s? Is that where a majority of your time is being allocated?